Today on Indie Minds, we look at 5 ways ChatGPT thinks it could revolutionise the music industry. ChatGPT is an easy-to-use artificial intelligence chatbot that amazingly has the potential to turn a number of business models on their head, even Google's. The music industry isn't spared, so we thought what better way to explore this by asking the bot what it thinks itself. So be amazed or even slightly underwhelmed as Indie Minds gets out its own crystal ball to find out what all the fuss is about. Number 1. The first suggestion that it came up with was around musical songwriting. Now, what did you sort of think about that, just exploring the engine?
Yeah, look, I'm really interested in this, mate. The idea of being able to punch in, hypothetically, can you write me a song similar to the Beatles using certain words and certain content, and pressing the enter button and watching this thing create something. And we've had a bit of a muck around during the week, mate, and I don't know, I think it's Pandora's box, mate, in terms of what this could be, what potential copyright issues are there, and is it going to be better than some lyrics by certain artists out there at the moment? I didn't mention Johnny Depp or Billy Corgan, BJ, but I don't know, mate, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this.
Now, I'm glad you raised Billy Corgan. Now, I think we've got to agree that Billy Corgan is certainly a talented songwriter. He does write some very cool and interesting lyrics. So what I decided to do is I actually thought, well, let's see what the bot could come up with a Smashing Pumpkins style of song. So I pre-prepared an instruction for the ChatGPT bot. And I basically told it to write me some lyrics in the style of the Pumpkins. This is what I did, and this is a live example, by the way, so we don't know what it's going to come up with. So,
oh God,
here it is.
Billy versus the bot.
I like this. I think this is all right. I think you could get away with this lyric potentially being a Pumpkin song. What do you think?
Yeah, look, it's going to be interesting, mate. And I know that next week we're going to do a bit of an interesting video on comparing Billy to the bot. Now, just looking at these lyrics here, mate, though, it was pretty quickly written. I'm going to have to give it to Billy at the moment in terms of his songwriting ability. But for something that was punched out in 5.3 seconds, I don't know, mate, there's potential here for Billy to be buried. I don't know. What do you think?
I actually think it is not too bad. I agree. I think you can fine-tune this just a little bit more. So I think there's some things that I don't think he actually says quite in his lyrics. But wow, it is quite impressive. That didn't really take too much for the bot to come up with all of that. Now, the second one that I thought was interesting is that what I did was I have instructed the bot to show it the first couple of verses and to the song Yesterday by the Beatles, and I've effectively asked it to complete the song. So we're basically telling it to finish the lyrics for a song. We've got writer's block. We're Paul McCartney. We've come up with this brilliant start to the song. Finish it off for us.
Paul, if you're watching, mate, just apologies there.
So here we go. Let's see what it comes up with. It sounds like in my head I could play that in my head, that verse 4 in the guise of Yesterday. Is it better than what Paul McCartney wrote? Oh, on the fence there. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm going to give it to McCartney for this one, mate. Being one of the all-time classic songs, I'm going to give this one to Paul McCartney, mate. But I mean, it's pretty amazing stuff, isn't it? Like you can just sit and play around.
Number 2. The concept is that this bot will be able to do music suggestions. So you're saying that you like the Kinks and Beatles. Tell me some other bands or artists that would like it. It would pluck those out because it would recognise all of that. Our interested to get your thoughts, because I mean, this is essentially what Spotify does at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, that's right, mate. I don't think there's a huge amount of conversation in this one, just due to the fact that Spotify and Amazon Music and all the rest have spent many years, many millions of dollars on creating these algorithms based on creating playlists and music that you are interested in particular, whereas the chatbot doesn't have that data or that information yet. So I think it's a bit of a watch this space. I think it's exciting. You can still punch in, give me similar artists to such and such, and it will find you those, but it won't be able to look at previous artists that you've listened to gauge and formulate what you could be interested in. So that's my 2 cents worth on that one, mate.
Yeah, look, I think that there is a potential threat to the business models of a Spotify in particular, because if they've spent many millions of dollars trying to build up this artificial intelligence that's doing suggestions, and all of a sudden this sort of Johnny-come-latelys come up, and being able to replicate that without too much effort, it will be interesting to see if this can ultimately do that particular task more efficiently, or as efficiently as a Spotify. So that sort of, again, puts into question whether people will, if they were able to get an offer for something that was half the price of Spotify but done this equally as well, as whether they would potentially jump ship. Number 3. So this is what we do at Indie Minds quite a bit, in that we look at these Spotify statistics that are being trawled over. So effectively, Spotify has this way of going through songs and reading the notes, the voices, and all of the different things that it can do in a very much sort of artificial intelligence way, and it effectively scores things. Now, at the moment, ChatGPT doesn't really have any of that data, so it hasn't had the ability to scan through trawls and trawls of MP3s, for instance, to score things, which then gives it the ability to categorize things. But I guess there is a potential there, but it's sort of a very similar one. Again, by the way, this is what ChatGPT has suggested as a way that it could disrupt things. Yeah,
look, I agree with you, mate. I think it's very early on in this conversation piece in terms of being able to compare and synthesize different types of music to help shape different people's interests. So I think it's a bit of a watch this space, this one. But as we know, artificial intelligence can actually teach itself to do different things, if you watch those movies back in the 90s, 2000s. So I don't know, mate. I think it's a bit of a watch this space.
Number 4. Music education was one that had suggested, so I was pretty impressed that, around its general ability to suggest lesson plans for a whole variety of topics. So one example that I put into the bot, and we'll do this right now, is to effectively show someone a musical lesson plan for someone doing piano who has effectively got intermediate ability. Now, what did you think? You are a teacher, so I guess you can kind of see that there is an application there, probably more generally for stuff like this.
Yeah, no, it's quite interesting as being a tool for the future for teachers to be able to use. And I think it's going to be based on how good the information that's inputted into the chatbot that is going to be able to get the results from the questions and demands asked of it. So you've asked quite specific things there, but if you go quite general and open, it's not going to give you the results that you're hoping for. I think it's got real potential in the music education and education in general. We've been quite specific today in talking about music, but there's potential for so many other fields in this arena of using artificial intelligence. So I think a great tool to use in the classroom or potential tutoring at home. Mate, it's wide open here.
Number 5. We did a review of Ghost Woman earlier in the year. ChatGPT, by the way, only has data to 2021, so it has no idea who Ghost Woman actually is. Okay, so as you can see, I've instructed the bot to write an article about Ghost Woman, the album. I've basically given some pointers to what it could look like and what the general sound of the album was. Let's see what it comes up with. I don't know about you. This is sounding pretty good, isn't it? Look, it sort of does feel a little bit like uncanny valleys. Like, I think in some ways we know this has been written by a bot, but I think that there is the potential for it to improve. But there is a whole range of questions around whether this type of technology could be used for bad as opposed to good. Particularly in maybe sort of spamming the internet with a whole lot of bot-written articles that are maybe, I guess, pushing an opinion or using this type of thing as a sort of a device for ultimately marketing and promotion.
Yeah.
Do you have any sort of final words?
I think it's a real double-edged sword here in terms of the capabilities and excitement around being able to do things quicker in certain industries. However, the potential for the dark side, I guess, is its potential open slather for misinformation and too much information being produced by something that isn't quite as accurate as it could potentially be. So that's my last 2 cents on this one, mate. In general, though, it's pretty exciting, isn't it?
It is. I think that's got a wide application for things. I think that, particularly with the songwriting side of things, I think that I can see artists using this to their benefit. So maybe using it as a way to maybe patch up a part of their repertoire that isn't a strength. So songwriting might not be everyone's strengths. It might be actually playing the music, it might be singing, but songwriting might not be actually one or something that they are good at doing. So you can almost sort of see that it could be used to complement their skill set. Whether it becomes more than that, again, jury's going to be out. So very, very interesting discussion, a very different discussion for Indie Miners today. That's our overview of ChatGPT and how it could have an impact on the music industry. That wraps up another episode of Indie Miners. Please look to subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, and let us know if there's an album you would like us to look at. So until next time, bye for now, and thank you for watching.